Good afternoon and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs along the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the debate with watch page muted, click on the link in the info box below this video to join and for the time being express your views on the shape of the earth entirely unopposed. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout while it is running. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be asked politely to stop and then you will be removed. If you are removed, you will be asked to only return on the following show where you will be warmly welcomed. With that, I'm going to share the show on Twitter, Skype, Facebook, and all those good places. And if you're in the live show currently, I would encourage you to do the same. Please share not only the join link, which is in the info box, but also the watch link, so you are free to chat, which will be occasionally broadcast on screen. So I'm going to transition across to my photograph so I can share the show on Facebook, Twitter and Skype. And with that said, one last time, if you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Just finished sharing the show on Twitter, Skype and Facebook. So I'm just going to do a couple of shout outs to the limited audience that we have at this early stage. Apologise for all of the dead air. This is always going to be the case with these shows at the beginning when there is no one here. So Critical Thinking always, good to have you here. Much obliged. Curved Water, good to see you. Thank you for letting me know the number of the show was wrong. Everett Anderson, nice to see you. And I think that's it. Thank you for being here. Please share the show. Good morning to you too, Raised by Gypsies. Good to have you here. Thank you for being here, Adam Young. Good to see you. It says, the moon's made of cheese. That's why the three blind mice went there. Apparently so, Adam. Good afternoon to you, Flatastic. Lots of thumbs up. Thank you very much. Much obliged. Moon looks damn close, says Adam. Well, feel free to jump on and say that. If you'd like to join the show, there is a link in the info box. I may as well do my full plug. So, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs along the show while it is live, and if you'd like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With your watch page muted, so the page you are currently looking at the show on needs to be muted when you join the show. When you join the show, there are only a couple of rules. Please do not swear. If you do swear, you will be ejected, and you will be warmly welcomed back on the next show. So as I say, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Good afternoon to you, John Boyce, and good afternoon to you too, Non-Schooling, who says, finally here live, yay! Good to have you here. Thank you for being here. Good afternoon, A4, or whatever time it is where you are. Good to have you here. So down under or not down under, depending on which side of the fence you sit. A4 says it's 11:19 p.m. Good morning, Peanuts Clark. Good to have you here. Good to see you. Hoodwink33, good to see you also. Thank you for being here. A4 says Nathan gets paid £75 per show, which is absolutely laughable. If I do a show that is allowed to be monetized, I approximately make $2 off a 2-hour show. Oh, hold on, my kid's just about to end this live stream. Come here, come away from there, please. Come away from there. Come here. Come here. I get about $2 per show if they remain monetized. If they don't, a show like this may earn me 12 cents in total towards my ad revenue. So no, I don't get £75 or £150 per show. Far from it. I'm lucky if I hit $100 each month for my entire back catalogue of about 800 videos. That's the reality of my earnings, if you want to know the truth. These shows are pretty much automatically demonetized, unfortunately. But there we go. So that's why I'm so keen to promote the super chat with these shows. Correct, Peanuts Clark. YouTube isn't a good business partner, and the reality of YouTube is it's not a job, it's a hobby. And if you get paid for doing your hobby, you're the luckiest man on earth. You know, that's what everybody wants. Everyone wants to get paid for doing their hobby. But I am a realist. I'm not expecting this to pay me the kind of salary a job pays. That said, it does need to pay something. I can't just dedicate my time to, or vast swathes of time to something that earns absolutely nothing. It just wouldn't go over having a family. So that's the reality of life for everybody. So if anybody's a naysayer or critical about this, I don't care. I Am Face has been in. 12 cents for this show is a lot, says I Am Face. You're wrong. It's not. Says Ralph Real might be able to get you a good deal on cringy FE live chats. Thanks, Face. I shall look into it. Actually, I have looked into it. I was chatting to Mark Sargent only last night about that very subject. As I've forgotten her name now, Katie O, Math Powerland's wife, was saying that Mark had government contracts, and having watched a few minutes of the MGTV video that was mirrored by Math Powerland, I didn't really know what she was on about, but I couldn't lie and say I hadn't watched the video because I had watched a bit of it. So I went to Mark and asked him and said, what's she on about? What's these government contracts she's talking about? And they pointed me in the direction of a completely different person who these conspiratards are saying is Mark. And with a cursory Facebook search of this guy's name, you can find him and his association to Ralph Real, and he's just a different guy. But based on this different guy who has at some stage in his career made apps for government, is now apparently Mark, which is farcical. But I find it quite amusing that people are so crap at research they can't even put a guy's name into Facebook. But there we go, that's the state of affairs on Flat Earth, and it's good fun to me. And when it came to it, my answer to Katie when she was asking me about that was I trust Mark, and that is true. So I was keen not to disagree with them because I didn't know anything about it, but to say, I'm more than happy to still say I trust Mark. I'll just go and ask him and find out what the real lowdown is, which is nice and easy, and pretty much anybody could do that either via phone or with email with Mark because he puts his information out there. Just ask him. But anyway, that was an amusing, interesting thing to look at. IPS Shill is here. Good to see you. Lazy Boy Researcher, pleased to have you here. Good times for all. Zachary Zabala caught your live stream while I was at work in a gap, so I was really pleased to see that. I didn't get to see it all because I was working at the time, but yeah, I managed to tune in for a couple of minutes and say hi in your chat. Please do more. Good Times for All says, I don't trust anybody. I use the term trust loosely. What I mean by that is I don't distrust Mark Sargent. I don't think he's a liar and a fraud and is out to deceive me. Far from it, he's just a guy. So that's what I mean by trust. I Am Face says, did you win a flatty? No, I didn't win a flatty. Not this year. I did last year. I got the Across the Pond award. I was absolutely touched. But no, this year, no. No award for me. I've not done anything outstanding this year. I'm not new this year. I've got nothing to offer this year for the flatties. Best debate show next year, maybe. Zachary Zabala asks, who's debating today? Anybody. Anybody who'd like to join. The purpose of me being here is to act as filler when there's nothing happening whatsoever, like now, or offer a little bit of chit-chat when somebody joins the show. So if you would like to join the show, Zachary Zabala, or anybody else who is watching live, you can click on the link in the info box below this video. All I ask is you mute your watch page before you join the show. So click on that link and you're free to express your views, at the moment at least, entirely unopposed. So with these early parts of the streams, it's often been the case that more tentative viewers and debaters have joined to express their views unopposed, and then there's been other people who've come in later after they've been expressed. But for the people who are currently watching, they could hear your views without much opposition, so maybe you'd like to join. I'll do a couple more plugs. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the show, there is a super chat that runs alongside the main chat while it is live. My kid's screaming and banging things around while that's being said is not deliberate, as I've been accused of pulling my kid in when I promote the super chat. Far from it. It's just that this show doesn't make a great deal of money. That's why I promote the super chat on this one and not my main show, because it gets continually demonetized. But there we go, that's life. Yeah, if you'd like to join the debate, click on the link in the info box below this video. Good day to you too, Helena Phoenix. In the land of Down Under, or not Down Under, depending on which side of the fence you sit. I already used that gag once with A4, but why not? You weren't here at the time. Adam says, show the chat, Nathan. More than happy to, Adam. There you go. Peter Immers, good to have you here. He says 7-Eleven was a part-time job. That's good to know. Mr. Grim V, good to have you here. Says, hey, Nathan Oakley and friends. Hello to you too, Grim V. Curved Water says, I can feel the electricity. I think he means electromagnetism, I'm sure of it.
Oh. Hey Nathan, I don't know if I'm on the air or anything, but I'm gonna step in just a second. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee and I'll be right back. Oh, Curved Water, how you doing? Good to see you. Not, no, just kidding. All right.
How you doing? Sorry, just disappeared for a second. How you doing?
You're cool.
So we've got Mr. Grim V and Curved Water with us. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you have these little hangouts and you allow people to come on and just have their discussions and stuff. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee and I'll just be right back to it. Hopefully, some more people will join the panel, so maybe something to get fired up.
Hopefully so. Got Ali B in our chat room. Thank you very much for being here, Ali. Good to see you. Sean G, good to be here too. Good to be here. Good to have you here. Sorry. What's up, party people? Says Sean. What's your excuse for letting them swear at me, Nathan? Says A4. Oh. Well, that won't happen anymore, A4. I'm just going to boot people immediately if they swear.
I don't remember anybody swearing at A4.
I remember A4 swearing.
Yeah, a little bit. But that's okay. There's other channels I can go on to swear at Vladdies. This is different. Try to keep that in mind. I was prompted to join here by Good Times for All, and I really hate pronouncing it Good Times for All because of the way he spells it. But anyway, if that's the way he wants it pronounced, that's what we'll go with. Good Times for All. No, it's Tim's. Good Times, you asked a question about Polaris. There's a lot of problems with your question itself. There's assumptions involved in there. Like you're saying, Polaris has been at the pole ever since it was named. Is that your actual, the implication of what you wrote? I don't want to assume anything, so I'll just go by what you actually say so that we can avoid misunderstandings. If you will either come into the Hangout or type in the chat, I'll talk to you about it, Good Times. How about that? Fair enough?
If he does reply to you in the chat, I'll read out his chat comments so it's not you responding to yourself to keep it less confusing.
Ah, good.
Ptolemy named it Stella Polaris, which means pole star in 159 AD.
Okay. How far away from the pole was it at that time? And for bonus points, can you point to or show me a picture of Stella Artois in the sky? Who says at the pole? Oh, no, sorry.
No, it's okay. Some say at the pole, some say 7 inches along its procession. The beer, question mark.
Oh, Stella Artois is a beer. I
Yeah.
thought it was another star because of the name. Okay, thanks, Good Times. I'm kidding, of course. Yeah, that's 7 degrees along its procession. But anyway, Good Times. Nobody in their right mind says that Polaris was at the pole back then at this time when you're claiming, and I'm not disputing it. I don't know who named it, but you say Ptolemy did. So, okay, we'll go with that. Ptolemy named it Stella Polaris. Fantastic. It was the closest star to the pole at that time. So, sorry, Peanuts. Got to take them one at a time, not going all over the place. Although, no, that works.
Okay, I'll read it out, bear with me. Since you're talking about the North Star, what evidence shows that it has moved, says Peanuts Clark?
Records, star charts. Even you go back even to the 1950s. I don't know how to pronounce the word because I'm an uneducated shill. It's epic or epoch or something like that. EPOCH. Been a while since I've seen it, but Polaris is not even in the same
Tomato,
position
tomato.
in the sky. What's that?
Tomato, tomato. You're right.
Good Times for All
I've
says
never looked at that.
Yeah.
Good Times for All
well,
says it does move a little.
tomato,
I've
too.
seen it myself. Sorry, says it just does move a little. I've seen it myself, says Good Times for All.
Yeah.
Okay, now wait a second. If you've seen it moves nightly around the northern celestial pole. That is correct. It moves counterclockwise around the pole. It's approximately 3/4 of a degree off of the celestial pole. So it makes a small arc in the sky. Not a full arc each night because you don't see it move for 24 hours. It takes 24 hours for it to move all the way around to make a full circle. So, of course, that's not going to happen nightly. But, yeah, it does move in an arc nightly. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the precession and the distance that it is from the pole. And Polaris has moved over time. Polaris has not always been the pole star. You go back to is it 3500 BC or so? Or, it's a wide time variance, but I believe Thuban was the pole star back then, like around the time that Egypt was relevant. No offense to modern day Egyptians, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Back during the when they were building pyramids or whatever, who knows what was going on there? Just enslaving Jews and stuff. I don't know. But and Polaris is not always going to be the pole star. I think the next pole star, once Polaris is farthest or far enough away, then the next one is like Vega, I believe. So, where is my proof? What is your proof? Good Times for All.
Sorry.
See, you can't play.
I just
this
read his
game.
comment. Sorry.
I'm not going to do this.
He says, "Where is your proof? That was told to you because that was where it had come. That was where it had to be. No star constellation came from the. I don't know that word. EQYLTUANS.
He's trying to say Egyptians.
Oh, is it Egyptians? Oh, okay. Fine.
Yep. Polaris isn't really a constellation. It's a binary star system, I think. There's actually 2 of them that are real close together there. It looks like one, but to us. But anyway, we're not talking about
the real name for it was Nipolaris because there was 2 of them. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Trying to lighten the mood a little. Nipolaris. That's what I was thinking about when I was confronted with the idea that we live in a dome, under a dome, and I said, well, what about the celestial stars? They spin in different directions. Is it a double dome? Is it called Nipolaris? I mean, We have nipple there over here, and it just came to me one day and slapped me like a tassel.
Yep.
Okay, so Good Times
Yes.
for All says, it has been used for navigation since the 500s, as the pole star says in the books.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so you can use books, but I can't. Fair enough. Good times. Again.
Why don't they just
good
come
times.
in? Why argue with somebody in the chat?
I think he's got a crappy mic. I asked him earlier. He is going to get it sorted and will come on future
You know,
shows.
that's a
I think.
horrible excuse to not. You know what I mean? I mean,
Well, sure, but nobody else will come in, so got to have something to talk about. This is a good topic because they need to realize that this is a straw man argument that all of these clowns present. When I say clowns, I'm thinking Morgile. Morgile likes to say a lot of crap about Polaris and pretend that he knows what he's talking about, but he makes a bunch of false statements. That
when I hear you call somebody clowns, though, I cringe a little bit. Like, what?
well, that's okay.
The pot and the kettle and all that.
You have strange ideas, and I guess since there's no Platty in here, we have
No,
to
actually,
look
I
at
don't
each
have
other.
strange ideas, right? You just aren't familiar with the ideas. They're strange to you. They're not strange ideas.
There's
I was told last night by your stupid friend that I made up the word magnetohydrodynamic wave.
Right. Yeah, that's your one
which I didn't. It was obvious that I didn't. Yeah, the guy who made up the word got a Nobel Prize for it in 1970.
Yeah, I'm aware. I knew about magnetohydrodynamic waves
but I'm
before
saying
you ever mentioned it.
Oh, I'm so sure you did.
Yeah, you did not, teach me the existence of MHD waves.
Right. Well, why didn't you help your friend out when your friend there, the boy that was pretending to be a girl, was calling me a liar? Why didn't you tell him? Why didn't you be honest right then and say, yes, it is a magnetohydrodynamic wave is a word. He's not making it up.
Why?
Because you're a dick. That's why. You sat there and you tried to allow somebody to win an argument through social ridicule, no matter what the truth really was. And I proved it right now. You didn't care about the truth in the argument. All you cared about was what it looks like happens in that room.
You guys were
You're a fake debater, dude. You're not real.
You guys
you're dishonest. You're disingenuous, and you're fake. You have nothing. You can't call a flat earther a fucking clown.
No,
you don't have the right.
Please.
You're dumber than rocks, dude. You have the appeal to authority issues. You don't know your arguments. And you sit there and you try to ridicule and socially ridicule people who actually do their research. So you don't have the right to talk to a flat earther like that, sir. I don't give a damn who you think you are.
I do. And
no, you don't.
Your problem is
not with any validity or any integrity. You don't.
Grim, you have a ridiculous amount of knowledge.
You're not an honest person, though.
That's the point. Most of your knowledge. We just
established that. You didn't care to correct your friend that was trying to let a person call me a liar and falsely accuse me. Shut the fuck up. You don't have the right to talk right now. You're a clown, dude. You're disingenuous. You're dishonest. You forfeit every argument. Seriously.
And you're not going to sit there and cuss at me and have nothing done.
Sorry, Grim. Rules is rules.
Fair enough. Yeah, Grim and I, we agree on the globe, and that's about it. Everything else, he's got a lot of chips on his shoulder over Electric Universe and all that kind of stuff.
Grim will be warmly welcomed back on the next stream.
Sure. All right, so Good Times for All says 44 arcsecond a year is 1 degree every 73 years.
You've missed a couple, actually. If I go back a couple of steps, because I said to him, look, the debate's moved on to something else now. Zach, you'll have to join, but now I've booted Mr. Grimm. So yeah, he says you can go back and look at the records from the 1700s and it was still at 89 degrees. I'll just read his next one as well. If Vega was pole star 4,000 years ago and sits where it is now, it would not be precessing as it should be. 44 arc seconds a year is 1 inch every 73 years. I think that's it. Look up. That's it.
1 degree every 73 years. Let's see. Pretty sure that the precession of the Earth's axis is on the order of around 26,000 years. I'm pretty sure that if you divide Uh, 26,000 by 360 degrees. You come out with something around 70, 72 years, something like that. And then if you accurately use the number of years, which I've just, rounded off there, you come up with an answer. It's very much like what you just said there. Good times for all. I'm very confused about your issue. As far as you said something about Polaris being at 89 degrees in the 1700s. I can go look at the records. Okay, what records could I go look at? Would you be able to point somebody into the right direction here? And also, just a quick check. I'm still here, right?
Yeah, coming through loud and clear. So,
Okay.
Chad Moulding asks, why no cursing? And I'll give you an answer to that. Not because I'm offended, first and foremost, because generally speaking, people are more wound up when they start cursing. And that's not what I want here. Generally speaking, I want a fairly cordial debate. That's not to say that people will just get around that rule by not swearing and getting very angry, and that I will allow. But the only way I can interject without seeming like a completely unreasonable prick is by saying, please don't swear, because that's kind of like a TV thing that most people have heard 100 times and seems socially acceptable, so I can get away with it, rather than saying, calm down, Grim, there's no need to argue so much, don't carry on this argument from last... that will just piss him off even more. I'd rather just say, look, obviously, please don't swear, boot them, and then say, look, come back next time. There'll be another show tomorrow. And Grim will be warmly welcomed. I won't even mention it. The Time Stroll says, the guy who figured stellar aberration can't remember his name. 1730s.
Yeah, okay. Right. So now instead of talking to you about it, I've got to go hunt through the internet for a source for your claim. I mean, believe me, I'd like to know if there's credible records of Polaris being 89 degrees above the horizon in the 1730s. Well, then I'd like to know about that.
I'm in a phone, man. I think he's qualifying why I can't join.
But even still, let's say it was.
Good to see you, Jim.
What does that have to
Nice
do
to
with
have
the
you
shape
here.
of the Earth? That the argument that you're having right now, Good Times, has to do with what how things move over time, and I mean long periods of time. The sky does move the way that we're told it has, but I mean, like I said, you got Thuban being the pole star back in either 3,500 years ago or 3,500 BC or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
But
Grim.
anyway,
I don't want to have to kick you. I am making an example of you. I'm sorry.
I don't know if I needed to, but I didn't catch what you just said.
Oh, right. I said, I'm sorry, Grim. I didn't want to kick you. I just made an example of you. So, yeah, feel wronged because you have been. You've been made an example of. I just don't want people to swear because it's far calmer. And in future debates, your points will be far better heard if you're not triggered and angry and swearing. That's the bottom line here. That's all I'm trying to achieve, is your point being heard by more people. And immediately you couldn't. I couldn't make out what you were saying because you and Curved are immediately talking over each other. And it's not Curved's fault. He's perfectly calm. and hence his language is perfectly clean, you know. But that's the only thing I can do that doesn't say calm down, which would piss you off even more. I know it would.
Well, I'm kind of, yeah, I'm the liar. Grim wanted me to defend him and make his argument for him. So since I didn't white knight for him, I'm a bad guy. Because, yeah, I knew that magnetohydrodynamic waves were a thing, and the person he's talking about wasn't familiar with that term, thought that Grim had made it up, because he does use a lot of made-up terms. But anyway, you know, as long as Grim's going to keep yapping it in the chat, I might talk, even though he's not in here. But I do not know, Sean G. Sean G asked, Curve Water, how many degrees a year off, or how many degrees a year off does Polaris move? I don't know the exact number there. I'm not an astronomy expert and all that kind of stuff. I'm just looking at like the simple things that anybody could look at. And the basic premise here is, see, Good Times is attacking like the basic standard model and standard accepted knowledge of all of this based upon something that he read, and he's misapplying what he has read, is basically therefore misrepresenting things, not understanding it himself, claiming things that the model does not say about the position of Polaris. And then when I go and tell him things about why what he's saying is not correct, that's not what they say, he asks me, what's my proof? What's my evidence? How do I know? Well, that's kind of, you're misrepresenting the fact that, okay, Ptolemy named the star. He did not say it was on the pole. Polaris is still not on the pole. That's an assumption on your part, Good Times for All. I haven't answered one question. Okay, well, then my answers are wasted on you, Good Times for All. I will not be speaking to you directly here any further because you don't listen. You're not having a conversation. You're just making your assertions, and you're not taking in any new information. If you could provide me with new information, I would take it in. So that's that.
I will read his comment just because it's the one that's reached the point where you said, right, I'm not talking to you anymore, which is, I think it was this comment, written by priests, how am I misrepresenting things? Then he goes on to say, you haven't answered one question. And his final comment is, Stella Polaris means pole star in Latin, genius.
Yay. Yes. The one that got me to say I'm not talking to you anymore was you haven't answered one question. If that's the approach he's going to take, there's no point in talking to him because I am answering his questions. And I am talking to him about it. And for him to say I haven't answered one question shows me that it's pointless to discuss anything with this guy. He needs to go back and read his children's encyclopedia that he used in his last video.
So we've got JJ joining us. Says hello, Curved Water. Nice trolling yesterday. Jovan Trendmaker, good to see you here. And Tony Vincino, good to have you here. However your name is pronounced, my apologies for making such a hash of it. I think I've said hello to Gem Panda already. And is anybody else who's joined? I don't think so.
Don't let Gem Panda in.
Yeah, I'd love to chat to Gem. It's always a good laugh listening to his belief in NASA. Lavoy Foster, good to have you here. Good to see you. I think if I've missed you, my apologies.
Well, shout out to JJ Dynamite. No, I wanted to clear that. I thought about this later, and I didn't get to it yesterday. I was completely kidding yesterday in the chat when I said something about Jeremy triggers me and all that. I heard you questioning it and wondering, what was going on there. You thought we were on the same page. Yeah, I like Jem, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. That was completely sarcasm. I don't know if you saw my following comment that said he mocks me, Frisbee.
Gotcha. No,
But,
it's one of them. You can't pick up the tone of things in text, and emojis just don't cut it. Even this, keep away from the stop button. Even in this, you can't read body language. You can read intonation in people's voices, and you can certainly hear fear and other emotions being expressed. No, don't touch that, please. Don't touch that, please. Don't touch that, please. I'm going to lose sound in a minute if she keeps pressing buttons. Come here. Gem Panda says he got it. He knows your sense of humour even in text format.
I'm going to admit one thing here that I've wondered about, and because the geometry of this, I've never sat down and tried to work with it because, to be honest, for me, it's quite complicated, and trying to visualize it is a little bit difficult. But 1 degree of movement in its path, so to speak, or its apparent motion in the precession, due to the axial precession. Yeah. So 1 degree of movement in its path, I don't think that translates to 1 degree in movement from the pole. Geometrically, there's a difference there. And okay, the chat can handle good times. You can read his comments, of course, but I don't even know what he's talking
Nathan.
about.
Hey, we normally have a good rapport. It's Grim again. If you would have just asked me not to swear, I would have. I never don't listen to you, right? And I always am respectful to you and your panel. So I thought it was pretty uncalled for to give me a no request ban because I was making a pretty valid point about curved water here being disingenuous. So I mean, I apologize for the swearing. I try to be respectful on your panel. So yeah, that's really all I got to really say about it.
Okay.
I just thought it was kind of.
I'll make an exception to rule 2.
It was harsher. You know what I mean? I respect you, so I figured you'd at least throw me a shot because I get a little sweary. I grew up that way. It's never been a.
Fair enough, Grim. I'll keep continually booting you and not letting you come back on then.
I apologize. I think. Oh, well, thank you.
Don't have to grovel. Forget it. Don't worry about it.
How do you like my avatar?
Beautiful. I thought you were going to porn bomb me.
Oh yeah. I wrote hi boys. All right. 1 degree every 69 miles. Go ahead. What were you saying?
What was the very long word that you? I didn't want to interrupt and express my ignorance, but I'm happy to do it now. There's a bit of a break. So, what was the hydrodynamic locking or something? I can't remember the word.
Oh yeah, magnetohydrodynamic wave.
Magnetohydrodynamic wave. And what is a magnetohydrodynamic wave?
It's really the MHD, magnetohydrodynamics, is a field of study about the conductivity and whatnot of particular types of fluids, as far as their behaviors are and how they behave and align and, oscillate and conduct.
Any fluid or ferrofluid or specific fluids?
Well, yeah, not any fluid, but electrolytes, you know, plasmas, even though they're not a fluid, the electric plasma, it has fluid dynamics, so it's under those categories. That's why it's called that. Let's see, liquid metals, stuff like that.
And how is this in any way contentious or hopefully shape of the earth related?
Well, kind of not. I mean, as far as simplistically, you know, I mean, you could probably work out some connections, you know, but yeah, I don't see it being much other than, you know, we don't really understand the properties of gravity, so we can't actually rule out that you know, gravity might be you know, something to do with a magnetohydrodynamic wave. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't believe that gravity is a fabric of space and time, you know, baloney. It's so the magnetohydrodynamics is basically just the study of those magnetic properties of electrically, you know, conducting fluids. It's pretty simple stuff. I mean, it's not like a made-up word or anything. It's, you know, as it was so, I was so accused of, you know, and then it was pseudoscience or a made-up word, and it's like, well, the guy, you know, got a Nobel Prize for, you know, initiating that field of study in 1970. So if I made that up, then I must have wrote the Nobel Prize for him too. It's like, I hate having to defend myself that hard, you know, for just to make such simple statements sometimes. You got people who somehow have some sort of, they got people fooled as if there's some sort of authority on so many different subjects that they're obviously not. And so you got to be careful out here, guys, with this illusion of intelligence. A lot of these guys are way overconfident, pretending they're so intelligent, and they really don't know what they're talking about. They're so 1999. They're not up to date on any of the new data. All the new data is pseudoscience. Oh my God. Because all science is settled already. You know what I mean? In their minds. It's what's going on there. But the fundamental concept behind the magnetohydrodynamics is magnetic fields induce currents, you know, in moving conductive fluids. That's why I was trying to tell that person yesterday that when they were saying, where's all the energy coming from? It's got to come from somewhere. It's just going to disappear. And I'm trying to tell them, well, it's a magnetohydrodynamic wave. The magnetic fields alone induce currents in a moving conductive fluid. That means anything moving out there is inducting. It's called inducing a current. Inducting. Anything out there moving, and everything's out there moving. So everything's out there inducing a current, not what possibly could be out there inducing a current. You know what I mean? So that's what I was trying to, it's that simple. If people let you talk, you can get it out that quickly. It's over. Done. You know, and then they can say, oh, I don't believe you. I think you're a liar. And I'll be like, I don't care. I mean, what you think, what that one person thinks is not going to affect my life.
You're discussing this presumably because it's relevant to plasma being the medium that you attribute to space, if that's the right way of phrasing it.
Well, it's sort of, and it's sort of like also establishing a bit of respect in the community as somebody who is talking about things that are new, not well understood by all, and have evidence to them, right? That show a contradictory alternative, basically, excuse better word, an alternative view to what we've been told by establishment, you know? So it appeals to those who know NASA's lying about something. You know, it appeals to those who can't put their thumb on exactly what it is, but intuitively they know something's wrong. you know? And so that we'll go ahead and take a good look at this. And, you know, is all I'm saying. If you really want to know where all the money's all at, you know, for the dark matter research and stuff, it's gone. Poof. There was never any need for it. They've known that plasma is doing all of this ever since they ever started taking your money for the dark matter research. So there's another big lie that they're up to that, I mean, people could really be doing something about, you know, right now. They're like, hey, check this out. We all focus on, we all see that these are the answers. Look, this is all the studies are here. That person said I didn't have any peer review papers to back up what I was saying. I don't know if you checked the hangout that we were in. I dropped about 100 different peer reviewed papers about plasma cosmology. So, I mean, it's not as if I didn't have the evidence, but the person was grandiosely making all these statements as if, you know, I couldn't support any of my statements. I'm a moron. I'm ridiculous. Da 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 da. You know, and Curved Water is just right there. Yep, he is dumb. Nah, 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 nah. I hope I'm not cussing.
Why do you have to stoop to that level? When did
because
I
you do that?
When
Because you
did I do
were
that?
doing that. Even when the person was outright making a complete mistake and calling me a liar, you sat there and enjoyed the fact that that was happening, even though you knew that that person was wrong for calling me a liar.
I
Because you're
didn't
dishonest.
argue your case for you. I let you handle
No, it wasn't
it.
about arguing my case for me. It was about saying, oh, in all fairness,
Why am
and-
I compelled to sit there and explain
I don't know.
to George
Because
that
I'm compelled to be honest.
magnetohydrodynamic wave
And-
is a thing? That's your job, not mine.
See what I mean? See what I mean? But you sat there and
Just
you
when
tagged
are you
in
going
right
to finish
along with it.
throwing all the toys
I know.
out of your crib?
It's just the whole point was that you have an agenda to make people look bad no matter what the truth is, Kurt.
You're full of
that's
it.
what. No, I'm not full of it. I mean, I've
You are
got
full
a
of it.
recording of you
I
doing
don't
it
have any
yesterday.
agenda.
Would you like to put some money on that?
You
Would you like to put
lost your
$100 on that? I've got a
How?
recording of you doing it
What
yesterday.
kind of a bet are you trying to make
Come on,
here?
man.
That's
I don't play with you.
completely
You guys are wrong.
subjective, where you can say, in your opinion, yes, I
I'm
have
not
an
gonna cuss.
agenda, therefore you win the bet. Now, see, that is being dumb.
See?
Well, you were just being dumb. What
See
kind of
what I
bet
mean?
is that?
See how many times have you called me that I'm dumb or I'm a moron and I don't know what I'm talking about and all this stuff? And how many times have I made you eat your words?
Never.
Every time.
Never.
Every friggin' time, bro.
Hey,
Every time.
this is, hey, Grim, for one,
You know
this
what?
is supposed to be a flat earth debate here, not a little bit session.
You're
where you
picking
come
on
in
the
here and
easy. You're
complain
picking on
about
easy
me.
prey. Right. You're picking on people. I've seen you over there do it. You sit there and you just pick on them and pick on them. You don't ever try to help anybody with anything. You don't ever try to really do anything. You pick on them, dude.
That
Now you're
is
over
an
here acting
absolute
like you're
lie.
smart, but we're not going to allow
Anybody-
that. You're not
Anybody
smart.
that's open and
You're
looking
repeat and
for
repeat.
something,
We're on a boat.
yes,
That's
I
what you
do.
are.
I am one of the more patient people there that is open still and willing to
You're a
try to
debater.
explain things to people that have questions,
You're
that
the
are
rope
looking
dope.
to discuss something.
You're the guy who you try to bring people over to their hangouts. You try to be the nice guy and bring them over to their hangouts where the other people can slaughter them. You're a rope-a-dope. I know what you are.
Any more baseless assertions?
It's not baseless.
It is baseless.
Why don't you look at all the hangouts from over there?
You think that because
Bring somebody
you
over
think
there.
something,
Get 'em
it's
slaughtered.
correct.
You get them slaughtered by your friends and you join in with it. Because you're not here to try to be good with people, dude. You're here to try to hurt people. You're here as one of the destroyers of communities and the dividers of the communities. You're not
Right.
here to bring the communities together.
Sorry to interrupt. We've
Really,
been joined by
you're not an
Self.
anti-vaxxer. You're not a truther at all. You're running around in the truth community trying to break people down just because they believe the earth is flat.
How you doing,
You were
Self?
saying,
We've been
Nathan?
joined by a new guest. How you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I need to turn you up a bit, but yes, you're coming through.
Okay, great. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, hey, I only have a few questions here. Unlike you guys, I don't claim to know a whole lot. I'm here to learn. So I was hoping you could maybe answer a few questions for me. And, you know, I guess you could call me a flat earther, but the thing is, you know, I just have two compelling points, I think, that they make. And I'd like to hear your answer to those questions. And then I'll be off. But here they go. So we see boats going over the horizon, and they're going over the curve. So as I understand it, when we look in one direction, it's only so many miles. And the periphery from left to right is much further than that. So one, why don't we see any curve on the horizon, the periphery, left to right? And secondly, my second question is, when we do see like a skyline in the far distance, even though it's so far that it's losing, once again, it's losing part of the bottom of the skyline of, like, say, a city or whatever, is lost to the curve, right? Well, my question is, why do those buildings still appear with the curve? And those are my two questions. I look forward to hearing your answers.
Could you repeat the last bit of the last sentence, because it just cut off halfway through? Sorry.
I'm just, yeah. Why do
the tops of
the second
buildings
question was
also show up with
why do the skyline, why does it appear flat, like the buildings? You don't see that tilting that was actually going away from you. It's on the, you know, the curve is having an effect, but the building does not actually look like it's curving away from you. It's not tilted away. And so those are my two questions, and I look forward to hearing your answers.
Actually, at some degrees they are. It's hard for you to see half a degree with your naked eye from 43, 45 kilometers away. That's all.
But half of the building is missing, but I can't see it curving away. I just don't understand how something wouldn't be curving away.
The globe is big. It's not curving away like it's already on the other side of the globe, dude. It's only just
but half the building
ever so slightly.
Half the building is missing. The tilt wouldn't be so slight, would it? I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. But actually, I'm not trying to argue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I feel I don't even. Are you really a flat earther, or are you just pretending to be a flat earther?
Well, I'll answer that. I don't even know what it means to be a flat earther. I'm just an honest guy with questions. If you're questioning where my questions are coming from, I am just repeating the questions that I thought were compelling, and I'd like to hear your answer for that.
Yeah, I'm not a flat earther.
I could offer an answer if nobody.
I'm not a flat earther, so I mean, but I am telling you, as a glober, you don't see half of a degree from 40 kilometers away.
Then the follow up to that question is, why is half of the building missing due to curve, but there's no way? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. But hey, maybe I need to learn. But anyway, it just doesn't make sense that half of the building would be missing, but there would be no tilt away from you. I thought we're talking about a curve here.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
But the curve
is how big the Earth is. Yeah.
If I can just make a quick introduction to Gem Panda, and there's somebody else who's joined us.
Okay.
Sorry, Grim. Sorry.
And then could you address my first
question? Bear with me. Just want to make a couple of introductions. So Gem Panda, Jeremy, pleased to have you here, and there's another guest, Flat Earth. Something I couldn't read your name quick enough, but if you could just say a quick hello, I'd be very grateful.
So yeah, I'm not going to be here long. I just want you to address my first question, please.
Okay. Well,
which is,
go ahead.
I can restate it. If you want.
Go ahead.
Basically, we can see ships. Okay, so like the distance to the horizon, I don't know. Once again, I'm not a genius here, but they say it's about 3 or so miles over the curve away from you, or however long it may be. The point is, however far you see something going away from you, directly in front of you, away, is not as far as far you can see a periphery from left to right. So why can we not sense anything from left to right if we can't? I'm just saying, like, okay, go ahead.
I would say the opposite is true, and this is why. As you say, if you're about 6 feet above sea level, then the horizon is about 3 miles away. Now, if you imagine if you're out on the open ocean and you can see no land, then the horizon is 3 miles away in every direction.
That's right.
Which puts you in the center of a circle with a circumference of about 19 miles. So when you're looking at the horizon, your field of view is about 192 degrees is the average human field of view. So 40 degrees either side of your head of that is peripheral vision. That is can
But
only
it's
be
still
seen
only
by
10
the
miles
one
in any one direction from your point, though, by the
Yeah.
way. You're not really seeing
Hang
19
on, I
miles
was
out.
talking.
Well, no, I mean, not to let him get misunderstood. I don't want him to misunderstand what you're trying to say.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's
Say
where it could
again,
get loose.
if I've not been clear. Sorry.
Yeah, because it could get loose. He might think that he's thinking in linear and not circumference. So when you're talking about your distance, so when you said, 19 miles, he's thinking that he can actually see a stretch of 19 miles straight.
Well, no, I said he's
and it's a circle.
No, I understood him.
You're
Okay,
I understood him.
I just wanted to make sure everyone did.
Circumference of 19 miles. So
I heard someone else try to argue his point the other day from that aspect. I just wanted to clear that up before anybody else in the chat wanted.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So that leaves you with 112 degrees of stereo vision, if you like, that you're seeing with both eyes. And if you work that 112 degrees of that 19-mile circle is that's a little bit less than a third of it. I think it's about 6 miles or something like that. So that's actually how much horizon you could see at that height laterally that you can clearly see. Only about 6 miles, which is would represent only about 1/10 of a degree of curvature.
So let me just read you. So if I'm standing and I look at a feature off to my left in the far distance, and I look at a feature to my right in the far distance, that distance is only so far. That's not maybe a lot. I mean, I swear I can see something at the left, and then I look at the right, and there's like 20 miles between them.
Right, but I mean,
that's what I think, but maybe I'm wrong.
Without moving your head,
if you're standing up high, you probably
which you would need to be able to see any curvature anyway, that way. But you are only looking at a very short piece of horizon, and it's actually the opposite to what you said. In that, as you're watching that ship go away from you, even though the horizon's only 3 miles away, you could see the ship for much further than that. How much further? That's well.
How tall is the ship?
That would depend upon the size of the ship.
To the boat. Yeah, it depends on the size of the ship, but you can
that's
take
the other
any ship you want.
And that kind of goes back to your second question, really, because it's important to remember that there are two things going on here. If, as well as in the case of the building, as well as part of it being blocked by curvature, it's as you're moving away from it, its angular size is reducing. It looks smaller as it's further away, and the same with the ship. And so that's why you end up with a situation where you can only see half of it, because obviously, it's further away as well, in terms of the ship I'm talking. So I don't know. I hope that goes some way to answering.
That's fine. I mean, I'm just here to ask a few questions.
When you're looking at the horizon sort of laterally, most of the time, the opportunities to see a lot of it are extremely limited. Even if you're in an aircraft, your field of view is limited by the size of the window, and also these clouds. If you're a long way up, ideally you need to be looking over water to be able to see a clear horizon anyway. And then often it's difficult to distinguish the horizon from the water, where that actual point is. So our opportunities to see curvature are quite limited.
Well, that's fine. I guess I'll go ahead and take another look and get back to you guys another time.
Cool.
It was a pleasure.
We had Flat Earth Christian Truthers. I think I've got that name right. Hopefully you can say hello.
Yeah, what's up?
Good to have you here.
Thanks, man. I've been on the channel for quite a while. It's good to be on.
Nice to have you here. Thanks for being here.
So, who is the globe earther?
Well, It's three of us.
Well,
You're hopelessly outnumbered today.
Everybody's a globe earther, like it or not.
I don't think it's hopeless, but okay. Hopeless if you just want to believe whatever people tell you, then sure.
Hope is the most negative word in the metaphysical dictionary.
So why are you guys so convinced that the Earth is a globe?
Did you find flat Earth? Is this a discovery you made on your own, or is it the result of seeing stuff on the internet?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I guess it started with the internet, like, you know, conspiracies and
So it
whatnot.
could be said you're believing what you've been told.
No, I mean, that's how it started. Like, I saw a video on it and I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then when you go out and actually do your own experiments, you will find that it's actually accurate.
Right. What experiment did you do?
Unless you actually know how to do the experiments correctly.
Yeah.
Well, curvature doesn't exist. It cannot be found. You get a
How did you test for that? What experiment did you do to determine that?
Take something that's a certain distance away and do the math on the curvature and see if you actually should be able to see it or not.
Okay. So
And
what did you do then?
what did I measure?
Yeah.
Let me see. There's a video on it too, on a boardwalk that someone did. And I
Right, but
went and
that's
actually
you believing what someone's told you, isn't it? That you criticised us for straight away. So, what test did you?
No, like I said, I saw a video on a guy saying, "Hey, this boardwalk's this far away and it's this high, and I shouldn't be able to see it." And then I
Right, but
went
as soon
because
as you came in here, you said we just believe what we've been told. That was your.
did you won't even let me finish what I'm saying. So if you'd let me finish, then
Yeah,
then,
come on,
then
Jem.
you would listen.
He's three against
What I'm saying
one,
is, I
so
saw
I
a
know he's
video of a
making.
guy say that, and then I live in the same area as him, and I actually went and I did the same measurements to see if he's really telling the truth or not, and he was. Basically, there's a boardwalk. Find the video, but there's a boardwalk that is, I forget how far, like 19 miles away or something like that, and you should not be able to see it. It's only like 6 feet above sea level, and you should not be able to see it at all. It should be like, I forget. I mean, this was years ago when I first figured this out, but it should be 300 something, I don't know, something feet up below the curvature, and you can see the whole thing, and you can even see underneath it. So that right there alone tells you that, I mean, whether or not it's a globe, I guess that doesn't prove that, but it's definitely not the size that they've been telling us it is. Because if it is a globe, then it's a lot bigger than they're claiming. So why are they lying about that? So if you take something that's, say, 6 feet
Okay, I'm
high
not
and you
even.
look at it 19
Oh,
miles away, should you be able to see that or not, according to
I was going to
curvature?
say I'm not even going to assume you used the formula correctly, right? Because you are a flat earther for heaven's sakes. So let's say you got to use the formula. You got to start from the horizon. I mean, the line of sight, uh, uh, not the horizon line.
You think
And
just
the
because you're
flat earthers love to say 8 inches squared per mile doesn't work, and then they show you how to misrepresent the formula. And that's why I say you got to finish high school, guys. It's important. Don't just settle for the
important to be
general math.
brainwashed. Yeah. Finish high school where they just indoctrinate you and tell you evolution's true and everything else.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but at least math, you can learn your math, right? And it doesn't really,
Right.
and I'm not talking about evolution and all your other conflated arguments that you're trying to pull into it for an emotional plea.
Well, you're saying finish school, and all
that's
school
not the
is just
point.
indoctrination.
Yeah, but
So-
you learn a lot in school that you do need to learn, though, in order to function properly in the first place, though. So those things, the basics, you do need to learn. The indoctrination and the history and the stuff like that, you can relearn later. But you do need to learn the math, because the math is going to be very useful later on in life. They never really want to tell you exactly how useful that damn algebra is really going to be until you get older and have to work some shit out. Then it's useful. So let's make sure that we don't tell kids that only school is bad and don't go to school and da 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 da. Yeah, there is some indoctrination in school, but you got to have good parents to be able to help you discern what's the indoctrination and what's not. You can't just throw it all out. You don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Sorry, guys.
That's your opinion?
do love a prolonged silence. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and if you would like to join the debate live, there is a link in the info box below this video. Be sure to mute your watch page before you join the live show. There are only a couple of rules. Please do not swear. If you do swear, you will be ejected and you will be warmly welcomed back on the next show. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
I'm reading you in the chat, Nathan. You're hilarious.
Much obliged.
Sorry, it's all gone quiet.
I didn't mean to hit and run like that. I'm back.
The thing that struck the silence was you saying, "Is that just your opinion?" That shut everyone up.
Oh, I already walked away. I was in the middle of smoking, taking that cigarette drag in and out of the house. I dropped the mic right after I finished and walked out. Yeah, everything is obviously that I'm going to say today is going to be somehow or another an opinion. You know, either that or I'm quoting or directing a fact, you know, something else. But for the most part, yeah, that's my opinion. That doesn't, you know, detract from the statement, though, I don't believe.
Nigger, nigger, nigger,
Oh my God, I can't believe your
nigger,
face is showing. You're showing your face while you're doing it, you big dummy.
nigger, nigger,
We are
Don't
joined by
and have
P
to
Mars.
fuck,
How you doing,
fuck.
P Mars?
Ban.
fuck,
No need.
Fuck.
No need.
Ban.
P, you're
Nigger.
welcome here, mate. You don't need to
Fuck.
swear. No swearing, please, P Mars.
nigger, nigger, fuck,
Ban that
Fuck.
guy.
nigger, nigger, fuck, fuck, nigger,
Come on, man.
fuck.
Hey, got anything intelligent to say?
Seriously,
like-
P, you're welcome here. You don't need to swear.
Nigger, nigger, fuck, nigger, fuck, nigger.
Seriously,
Okay,
unreal.
idiot.
Well, P Mars will be welcome back on the next show, as I say.
Oh my God, that was the first time I ever lost a debate.
Very, very cheerful of you, Nathan.
I like P. Yeah, I do, honestly. He was really helpful with getting this stream set up. If it wasn't for P Mars, we wouldn't have this stream because I couldn't figure out, I can't remember which aspect of OBS. And I called him up and it was very early for him, maybe 8 AM. And he just cordially got out of bed and said, "Yeah, I'll explain it to you." And he took his time, talked me through it,
Nice.
and I got it working. P Mars, to me, is a superstar.
You know he doesn't mean any of that. He's not racist.
Oh, he's just
Mm.
trolling. And that's why I let him do it for a little bit. Because he's just trolling.
His mom is black.
He's not even triggered. You know what I mean?
I'm totally kidding. I don't know, but
Yeah. You're welcome next time, P. Hopefully you can keep the language down. I watched his stream this morning. He phrased it something like bashing women live hangout or something like that. And just played a load of videos from, you know, I wouldn't even necessarily call some of them misogynists. They may get labelled that by some feminists, but they were just blokes expressing their opinions about relationships. And it was interesting, you know, I gave it probably more time than I gave a lot of videos on YouTube today. So, you know,
what are you watching? Some MGTOW stuff?
is that what you'd call it, MGTOW?
I think that's what they call it. I was introduced to that name recently. I don't,
Yeah, men
I'm
going
trying to
their own
say-
way. Now, I'm definitely not into the MGTOW thing, but it's just interesting to listen to, which is all I'm generally looking for in any video. Agree or disagree, is it interesting or not?
Yeah. So, I wonder
Yes.
what the young man is still in the room. Good.
And does Flat Earth Christian Truthers have anything else?
What?
Do you have anything else?
What do you mean? Do I have anything else?
Any questions
Yeah.
or, you know, points to make?
Not really questions. I mean, if you're a globe earther and you've researched flat Earth, then I don't know. There's really nothing I can do for you. I mean, really, if that's how people become flat earthers, by the way. They start out as globe earthers, obviously, like everyone else. They go out to prove, that the globe is real. And then that's how they figure out, wow, it's not. So I got a question for you guys, I guess. Since you think the Earth's a globe, do you think that NASA's ever lied, or do you think that you believe everything NASA puts out as total fact?
Wow.
That's a bit of a false dichotomy you're proposing there, I think.
Why is that?
Well, have they ever lied, or is everything a lie?
Right.
I mean,
Well, why can't they get a real picture? Why is everything CGI? And they even admit
it isn't, and they don't admit that. That's just a thing that flat earthers say that's incorrect.
they say that there's one picture from 1972, and they claim that's the only real picture.
That's not
So-
true.
No, that's not true.
It's not true. Okay, where's your evidence that?
Well,
That-
where's
that-
your
that-
evidence?
that-
Where's your evidence for that? Hold on a minute. Where's your evidence for that? Let's see where NASA admit that.
Okay, let me go find the video. The guy says it's Photoshop, but it has to be.
Right.
That's what he says. Everybody knows
referring-
that's a fact.
That's
So,
not CGI, though.
In that video, he's
You know what
referring
CGI
to.
stands for?
In that video, he is referring to the blue marble, a specific version of it. I think the 2012 version. He's not referring to the Apollo photos, and he is not referring to all photos from NASA, which is your claim.
okay, so have you seen the pictures of Earth from NASA from all the different years? How all the continents are always different sizes every
Yes.
year? Why is that?
Yes.
If it's a real picture, why is that?
Well, if you
Why
go
does
to
all of a
my
sudden the
channel,
continent take up half the planet,
if
and
you,
then in another picture it doesn't? That's my question.
if you go to my channel, I've actually got a video on that called Balls of Blue, which explains the difference, why there are differences between those images. But let's
Well,
let's stick with your initial claim before we move on to another one, which is that you've said that NASA admit that they only have one real picture of Earth and everything else is CGI. That was your claim.
Well, that's what they say.
Well, so you keep telling us, but where do they say this?
Why don't you go look it up,
No,
man? Go look on
it's
YouTube.
Your claim. It's not. You make the claim, and then I have to prove it for you. You make the claim.
True. So
and
why
then
do I gotta
you
prove
support
something that I know
it
is
with
true?
evidence.
You disagree,
Well,
so why don't you
this
go
your
look it
claim
up
is
and find
nonsense.
out for yourself that I'm telling the truth?
Well, I know
How-
that you're not telling the truth. I know that you're just
You
repeating.
know that I'm not, yet you won't go look it up. Okay.
I know that.
makes
I know that you're just repeating standard flat Earth nonsense that you haven't bothered to look into. It's just.
What are you talking about, dude? You've obviously looked into nothing if you really think the Earth's a globe.
well,
you think,
like I
water
just-
sticks to your
Like I
spinning
just
ball?
explained to
And
you.
you think boats
go
are
to
going,
my
you think
channel.
Australians are
30
upside down and water is just sticking to a ball?
If you
And you think
let's
ships are
not
going
move on to
around
something else. There's no reason
upside
to move
down,
on to a different
glued
subject.
to the
Let's
earth,
stick with the one we've got. And let me remind you, when you're saying that I don't know about it, that I've just told you I've got a 13-minute documentary on my channel specifically on this subject. So it's the claim that I haven't looked into it is unlikely to be true if I've managed to produce content on it. And you haven't. All you're doing is repeating a phrase that you haven't looked into. I
have looked
prove
into
you
it,
wrong right now.
If I didn't look into it, then I would be a globe earther like you. I would just believe whatever they tell me in school as fact, and yeah, that would be that.
About you've believed what other flat earthers have told you. You've believed this endlessly repeated phrase
I
that
believe what
NASA
I've
have
seen,
only got one real picture of Earth, and that is not true. It's false.
And all the pictures of the Earth where the continents are all different sizes, and the ball, like I can understand, if the ball
Well,
was a
again,
different size,
if you'd
but then-
actually looked into it, instead of just confirming your bias, you would know what the reasons are for that. Now, you may not accept those reasons. You may say they're poppycock, but at least you would know what those reasons are, and you would be able to make an argument against them. But because you haven't researched it,
They
you
claim,
don't know what those reasons are. You just go,
they claim, this satellite was this far away and this satellite was that far away. That's why the continents are different sizes. That's what they say, right?
Pictures taken at totally
All right.
different times in totally different ways from totally different spacecraft at different distances from Earth. They should all look exactly the same.
Right.
Let's take it.
Oh,
let's take it a
okay.
step
Different
further,
distances.
guys.
Then how come the ball? How come the ball is the exact same size?
Oh, wait.
The continents are different.
Okay,
sizes,
well
but the ball is
let me demonstrate
the exact
that to
same
you
size.
now. Just to put this one,
Oh, you
this
just got proven
particular
wrong.
claim to
Strike
bed.
one. You're out. You suck.
I can do this for you very quickly.
Some
There
of
we
those
go.
arguments don't have much to do with the shape of the Earth, though. Young man, where do you go?
Did he do a runner?
I don't know.
Please
I think
tell
so.
me.
I was
might
going to
come back.
interrupt and say, at least let him get his point out before you debunk it. But, it's fair enough. I want to
True,
interject
yeah.
as little as possible to show exactly that happening, so I didn't.
But did he really have a point?
Maybe not.
Okay, well,
I
can I
think he
make the
expressed it.
point now anyway? Just very quickly. If
Yeah,
can I
no
do a
one's
screen
stop you.
share?
Please. I mean, I don't know if you can. Sorry, it's not my shit.
Wrong one. Let me do the right one. Yeah. Don't present me yet, will you? Oh no, it's okay. You can anyway, can't you? Because share. Right. Could you present me now? Is he still there?
Yeah, I'm presenting you. But if you
Oh,
can,
cool.
as long as if you
Thanks.
could just make it full screen, that'd be brilliant. Oh, it is already.
So is that full screen? Yeah.
Yep, looking good.
Cool. So yeah, this is basically what he was referring to. We all know this image of the big USA, and essentially, well, there's two reasons for it actually. With the picture we see a lot, but what this image demonstrates is that by moving away from here, it's just a standard globe that someone stuck on a table in their garden. By moving away from it and zooming into it, so you've got the globe is the same size. The globe itself, the outer edge of the globe, is the same size in each image, but the USA appears larger in some than others, and this is just a product of distance from it. As you move further away, you could see more of the edges of the sphere, and so things look relatively smaller within it. But in that image that we often see of the big USA, it's actually, it is a bit of NASA sloppiness, because they released it as a blue marble image, but it's not actually an image of the entire Earth. The North Pole is entirely missing from it. That just isn't in the image at all. And the image was actually made, it was to show the phytoplankton levels around the coast of the USA. And it was used at a meeting of the I think National Geographic Society or something like that, and it was basically a way of presenting that data visually, just in a sort of cool way. But it was picked up on by someone from NASA's PR department, and they released it as a blue marble, even though it isn't actually an image of the entire globe. Anyway, that's it.
Great explanation.
Thank you.
And a lot of the stuff, like when it's they're asking, a flat earther will tell you, it's just use your senses. The senses will tell you. Well, except when you're looking or thinking, then it's just like, don't use their senses. Like, oh, the sunset? Yeah, no, don't use your senses on that. Or the moon? Yeah, no, don't trust your senses there either. But why the mantra, trust your senses? And then every time you say, well, my senses tell me that we're on a sphere, like, well, no, your senses are broken. It's just funny. Those little humorous moments. Make up my mind already, will you?
But everyone watch my video, Balls of Blue. I'm just
Yeah.
going to give it a plug.
Click on it twice.
Which explains, that meme we all see, why do all these look different? And I go through each one and explain why they all look different.
I'm not reading the chat or anything, but is there anybody out there objecting or trying to say a bunch of nonsense about what you just demonstrated there, Jeremy?
I don't know. Well, Riley's in the chat, so I probably won't have to look back too far before I find someone talking nonsense.
When's the last time he said anything that was legit?
So this show will run for approximately 15 more minutes, and I'll do my links now while there's a little silent pause. So if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs along the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the debate live, there is a link in the info box below this video with your watch page muted, the page you're watching now muted. Click on that link and you can join the discussion live and challenge anybody who is on the panel with any feelings you have on the shape of the Earth. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
He might be muted to us because he shuts us out and talks to them, you know.
Oh,
We're back.
Yes, I try not to interrupt, and, you know, as much as possible, I don't want you to know that I'm telling people to like and subscribe. I just want the conversation to carry on, but I caught the end of that conversation there, Jem. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I just happened to flick onto the watch page and I thought, hold on a minute, what's happening here? Because I see him talking, but I don't hear him talking. Yeah, John Watson made quite a few funny comments there. So thank you, John. So Riley, we're relying on you to say something stupid to provoke a conversation here, and you know, we expect you to deliver.
In other words, just say something, Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I can read something that he said. Why not? Let's find
a
random Riley comment, see if it triggers you. They have to use fraudly because they ain't got anybody else doing fraud to that degree. Ha. Who's fraudly?
He's referring to Soundly, of course, but it's interesting that Anthony did this because he went through a small phase that lasted about a week. I don't know, probably about 6 months ago, where he was really objecting to the idea that people kept calling people liars and that they shouldn't do that, and that people can be mistaken or they can, you know, just draw the wrong conclusions, but that doesn't make them a liar. And yet straight after that, he did his Mick West is a liar, and then Soundly is a liar. And his argument is you know, ridiculous anyway, because even if he could show that Soundly was a fraud, which of course he won't, it's nonsense, but even if he could show that, it would be meaningless. You know, he thinks he can sort of disprove Earthshine by you know, attacking Soundly personally, and of course he won't. You know, it's been, you know, documented thousands of times over, you know, decades, or yes, at least decades. So it's really rather pointless. Oh, he's coming in. He's coming in for a fight. Good.
So Sleeping Warrior has said, give me 2 minutes. I'm on my way, Nathan. So hopefully we'll have Anthony Riley to discuss his views on the shape of the Earth, whatever they may be.
Joy says, I thought Globe Believers gave up trying to debate on YouTube. Projection much, I must say. I don't think it was the
That's not what
Globers that
happened,
gave it
sweetie.
up.
All the actual people who cared to debate anyone on any Flat Earth channels were banned.
But
So
just
there's your
welcome, Joy.
problem.
Whenever
it's
you
not
want
that
to
there
come
was
on
no
my
one
channel,
to
just say
debate
the
you.
word and I'll spark it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, those
right
guys
now.
can call me anytime if they're looking for someone to debate. on their little flat Earth problems. They know it too. I've extended this this invitation to every flat earther on the globe. I'd love to show you your fake stars videos and how to focus your P900 and how to calculate the curvature and how to use your refraction math and how to not misrepresent the 8-inch square per mile formula and how to use your observations over water and how to use larger target areas with larger distances so that you can properly calculate with averages. You need to learn all of that stuff. I can show you all of that. It doesn't even take long.
But when you're looking at something like beyond the horizon that's obstructed by the curvature of the Earth, why isn't the building falling over?
Yeah, except for when you actually do the measurements, which we have a demonstration of that at 40, I think 7.35 kilometers. You actually do see a 0.5 degree of a tilt, and it's measurable, and you just can't see it with your naked eye. You're not seeing much past that anyway, no matter, usually how tall a thing is, unless it's a mountain or something, because you're already at 127 meters hidden obstructed distance. That's pretty tall. That's like almost a little over a third of the way up a 300-meter water tower, which is what the target was. Anyway, so
we've been joined by Sleeping Warrior, is it?
Greetings.
And I wouldn't mind showing them how.
Good to have you here, Sleeping Warrior.
Anything less, we know who that is. Anything less than 1 pixel, Dell. Anything less than 1 pixel, right, disappears in the camera. So they like to play that 1 pixel disappear at the top of the horizon game with you on the Flat Earth videos, telling you, look, the boat's over the horizon. Now it's coming back into view. And it's not. It's just smaller than a pixel at the horizon. That's why they choose such small targets so they can play with you guys like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking a lot better these days, Riley. Have you done something with your face?
Yeah, I'm glad you've decided to appear with a bag over your head. That's very considerate.
He was in a fishing accident, so I've heard.
I was blinded by the fantasticness of this hangout. This is by the way, for anybody wondering, this is my peaceful protest, and it's a peaceful protest against flat earthers that accept shitty evidence that is proof of anything. Listen, guys, evidence is either verified as true or not capable of verification. And if you can't verify it as true, it's not evidence to accept. If it's not credible, it's not evidence to accept. So all these retards that think that Patricia's either a boy or a girl, or that she's a transsexual, or this, that, she's a shill, all the evidence that's going round about this, that, and the other, fuck it, reel your head in, guys. It's all incredible because nobody has put their face to it. It's all incapable of verifying. It's not true. But if you accept it as true, you may as well go back to the ball. So the reason why I'm wearing this mask is in protest against stupid flat earthers that accept shitty evidence to prove any particular point. And if you think that Patricia's a boy, the problem's you. You can't work out a boy from a girl. If you think Patricia's a shill, the problem's you, because you don't know what evidence is needed to prove that it's a shill. And it's the same for Mark. So for all the ball earthers that have got their points to make, I'm sure that they can make their points properly. But for the flat earthers, for God's sake, guys, get a grip. It's got to be verifiable. It's got to be credible. Otherwise, it gets dismissed. It's that simple. And all this shit floating around, pack it in. It doesn't prove anything. Let's get back on topic, talk about the good things, and let's talk about things that are productive. Let's not be divisive, and let's not split things up. Keep on track and talk about quality evidence. I heard Jem talking about how when you stood on the beach at 6 feet, roughly 6 feet tall, the horizon is kind of like 3 miles away. If that's true, Jem, we can see. I mean, I invite you to join me at Hoy Lake. You can see Blackpool Tower from 30 miles away with the naked eye. You don't need any P900.
That's nothing to do with the horizon, is it?
Well, it is, because
I'm not saying you can't see anything beyond the horizon. I'm saying the point where the sky appears to meet the sea is about.
And that's why he's a flat earther.
Sure. So if we go to Hoy Lake and we have a big, massive ruler at the other end of somewhere we're looking at, and the big ruler just happens to be 500 feet tall, and we'll use Blackpool Tower as the example. If the Earth's really curved and you stand on the beach and you can see Blackpool Tower from there, and you get your P900 out and then zoom right in and you can see the whole of the tower, you can't see the integers of the ruler because it's too small, because that's called the angular resolution reduction. It gets smaller as it gets further away, but you can see the tower.
In other words, you can't see the bottom of the tower.
Right.
No, you can see the whole tower.
You can't.
Yes, you can. You can see the whole tower, and it's every single time we go.
And you've also
Or the building underneath
observations at the same spot where you've seen less of it than you expected to.
You either see all of it.
We never ever hear about that one.
No. You either see all of it or none of it because the opacity of the atmosphere. You never get a variable in between, which is the tower falling behind the curve of the Earth. You either see it or you don't.
How do we verify this?
I'm inviting Jeremy to come and do it with a proper setup so that Jeremy can see for himself. And if we don't see it one day, he can stop at mine for the night and we'll go the next day.
I've explained to you, there's no way I would ever do that.
Well, you know, you don't have to
subscribe to that philosophy, Anthony.
You don't have to subscribe to a philosophy. You just have to accept evidence that's contrary to your views, beliefs, or opinions.
Well, I would be, it would just be a waste of my time and money, and it just wouldn't. It would be totally pointless.
Hashtag cognitive dissonance.
I have a question regarding.
How's that cognitive dissonance?
It's there's a principle at stake. No, wait. There's a principle at stake, Anthony. You guys, and you say this all the time, we just heard an example of it. The guy came in the room, the guy previous to you came in the room and said, you just believe what you've been told. And this let me get this out. Let me take a minute or two. This zetetic philosophy lies at the heart of flat Earth. It's an essential part of the belief. You really can't have it without taking that philosophy as the basis for your epistemology. You have to do that, and I don't subscribe to that philosophy. I think it's absurd and it's inhuman.
Neither do I.
Go ahead.
I go with the evidence that we can seek to prove ourselves without spending shitloads of money, time, or effort on something that's futile. If it's that straightforward to prove the curvature of the Earth, we can do it with tall buildings, and we can verify it time and time again. And pardon?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we can verify it time and time again. And every single time, you either see the tower or you don't. It's 30 miles away.
No, we can take averages and means, and we can also understand that the different barometric pressures, and temperatures for densities in the medium, and then we can use those those data to make sure that we understand very well exactly the conditions that create the particular types of mirages that we're seeing as phenomena that make you think that the Earth is flat, even though they're stretched and elongated at the tops, and they're obviously distortions from chromatic aberration, because it is refraction.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. We've been joined by Earth Flattener. Just to say a quick hello to Earth Flattener. How are you doing? Good to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Good to have you.
I understood your point, but my point is this. We can use that Blackpool Tower as empirical evidence that's verifiable, it's credible, it's repeatable, it's observable by anybody in the UK. You can go 30 miles away and you can see it every single time, unless it's cloudy or misty.
You're very much overstating the how clear your evidence is, because it just isn't that conclusive, Anthony, and you know it isn't.
It's 518 feet tall at 30 miles away. It should not be visible. Not all of it.
Nothing but water between you and it.
That's not true. You're now ignoring refraction. You want to cast that aside because of your cognitive dissonance.
No,
because you've attempted to do this for about the last 6 months, Anthony, trying to suggest to the world that we should just discard the idea that light refracts in the atmosphere, and it's just crazy. I mean,
if you run the figures of 518 feet from a distance of 30 miles at an observer height of whatever you want to put it at, you get the parameters in which the observation can be performed. Every single time, provided it's clear enough in the atmosphere, you see it. You see it, and it shouldn't even be there, Jem. So even if you account for
we both know it isn't every single time, Anthony. Because
unless it's
both know that you made an observation where you saw less of it than you expected to. We
No,
know
that's not
that
true.
occurred.
That's not
And
true.
It wasn't that you didn't see any of it. It was where you saw less of it, and that
isn't true. That is not true. That is completely
well, I know that it is.
Well, have you got any evidence of that? Firstly, no.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Right.
The claim
So
that you made. This is a claim that you made to me personally, and then never showed the evidence of. Because obviously it refutes your claims. But even if we disregard that, everything that you have presented is not as conclusive as you say. You always use these phrases like, you can clearly see when we're looking at some foggy, nondescript blur on the horizon.
No, you're making it muddy.
As conclusive as you say.
No, no.
You're not refute the ball model in any way. It just doesn't. Not when you take refraction into account.
Jem, you are simply muddying the waters because you don't want to accept the evidence. That's it. If you want to muddy the waters, that's
okay. Show us your clearest picture.
I can show you as many. How many pictures would you like to see? How many would you accept?
One clearest one.
All right. So let me share my screen, and then I'll do it on the small screen so that I've got more control over it. Let's get rid of some stuff here. Give me a while. It's been a while since I've done these.
The real problem for me has always been that to believe globe Earth, you have to have faith to do it. And to believe in flat Earth, you also have to. But in some instances, that's all we have, because our facts are from when it was accepted, you know, and recent things that we've done. But the way the globers should understand the globe being factual should be like complete fact. It should be the 10 commandments of why the earth is a globe, and there's no such thing. We should not be able to listen. Hey, hold on. Hold on. So you guys discuss it the same way we discuss it. You think we're ridiculous, and we used to believe what you believed, and then we realized something was wrong. You know, and what's wrong is that it's faith-based, just like the Bible, just like all this other stuff that we know nothing about. All we know is what we've been told. And you don't seem to accept that.
I do accept that.
What are we looking at here?
Okay. All right, that's cool. Yeah, great.
I think there is an element where you call it faith. I think that's an attempt to, sort of equivocate the terms, because I think that's a way of, making it sound religious. And I think that another way to say it would be just to say that it's trust. And I think that if you consider a source of information to be reputable, and you've got good reason to believe it's reputable, then it's not unreasonable to trust information that they put out. Obviously, there is an element of well, I call it trust, and you can call it faith, but that exists, and that's true. Okay. But I don't think that that's unreasonable. And
on that note, Jeremy, I'm gonna round out this show very shortly.
When I hear flat earthers talk, like for instance, I heard Jaron at the convention say, "Everyone in my life has lied to me. People will always try and get the better of you and lie to you if you can." Well, that is not my experience, and that is not how I see my fellow human beings. Of course, there are people out there who will lie to me. Of course, there are people who will try and get the better of me. But that is not what is happening most of the time. That is not how most people behave most of the time. And I have no reason to believe that if my mate in the street or general people hanging around aren't doing that, there's no reason to believe that everyone who is in a position of authority is doing that as well. I don't think everybody. I'm nearly there. That's an absurd and inhuman way to think about your fellow human beings, and it's an absolute requirement of this belief. It's part of the.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. It's time to round out the show. So even though you want to get your last points in, you're not going to get an opportunity. I am sorry, because it's coming up on the 2-hour mark. So with that, I'm going to say a massive thank you to all of the people who have joined us on this live broadcast. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to join future debates, you can click on the info box on them. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.